Hi, welcome to episode 18 of For What It's Worth Coaching podcast. I am Coach Tighe here with
Coach Hines.
How's everyone doing? Today we're going to get into a subject that we thought of, about a month ago that we really wanted to talk about?
A month to 2 minutes ago.
Maybe more like 2 minutes ago. And it's from a tweet that you put out and I guess a response that you got?
Yeah, I had posted something about just my faith. Just putting it out there. And both you and I have often said that we don't ever want to force our beliefs on someone.
Right.
But with the platforms that so many of us have, you want to be authentic. You want to be true and be yourselves.
Definitely.
So I had put something out there and got a lot of comments, retweets, likes, or whatever. And this one coach had mentioned to me, he said, stick to coaching. And it made me pause for a moment. I'm not one that believes in the cancel culture or delete or block people. I don't see a need for it. If people don't like what we're sharing, they can unfollow us and there will always, and I'm not even calling this guy a troll, but there's always going to be trolls out there. And a lot of people took offense to his comment and were sharing their thoughts with him. And it made me think, what does he view as coaching?
Right.
Because when someone says stick to coaching, man, how can you put our jobs in a box? And we're not putting ourselves on a pedestal.
Not at all.
But for both of us, Coach Tighe has coached baseball at multiple levels for over 20 years. I've coached high school football now for 23. And we've talked about this, I think it was episode 3, we talked about the many hats we wear. And the many hats we're happy and blessed to wear. But you can't... When you say stick to coaching, it just makes me laugh because what does that mean to someone? What's their definition of coaching?
Right.
What are your thoughts when you hear someone say stick to coaching?
I think they're just missing out on the true beauty of being a coach.
Yeah.
Because like you said on episode 3, we talked about it being you're a mentor, you're a teacher, you're a third or fourth parent, or even the second parent. You never know. But really finding out who your players are. What their interests are, what they like to do besides sports, and really getting to know your players and also getting to know their parents too, because you don't know what's going on at home, they're the biggest, most likely the biggest supporters you have, and so when you talk about just coaching, you are missing out on so much in your own tight-knit community.
Yeah, and I think very, very relevant to where we all are in today's day and age with COVID and the pandemic. When sports were ripped out of the players' hands and coaches' hands and families' hands, you think about the countless hours that families dedicate, not just driving to and from practice and private lessons and countless hours in the weight room and on the field or court, whatever it is.
Don't forget all the laundry they have to do.
That's a very real issue.
Some moms might be happy out there.
The extra meals they prepare.
Definitely.
I know for years I've always told my players, you got to fuel your body. You got to continue to eat nonstop. Until our son became a high school football player, I thought, man, where's all the food going?
Right.
And then I had a paradigm shift. I'm like, dang. For years, these parents probably hating me because I'm always saying, just keep eating nonstop, and I wasn't the one paying the bill.
Right, their Costco card's going up.
Exactly. But we think about in today's day and age with the pandemic, sports last season, spring sports just stopped mid-season, and you think about I know the football season and baseball season, at least here in California, has been pushed back, so they're taking 3 seasons and putting them all into 2 and shortening those seasons.
Shorten them,
for the most part. Stick to coaching. That's like us telling our players, stick to being an athlete.
Right.
And I know for both Coach Tighe and I, we try just the complete opposite of that, trying to tell people, telling our student athletes, listen, you play football, you play baseball, you play basketball, you're a cheerleader, but that's not who you are.
Right.
That's not your identity. And you see, it used to amaze me when you would hear about professional athletes, the top of their game, making millions, hundreds of millions of dollars sometimes, who go off the deep end and get into trouble with drugs or mistreating other human beings or whatever it is. And you think so much of that is caused because they saw their identity in just being that athlete. And when that came to an end, and they weren't being asked for the autographs all the time, they weren't always in the limelight, they didn't know who they were. Their identity was lost. So, and once again, I'm not attacking this gentleman. I don't remember his name, and I didn't block him. I believe he still follows me. I don't know if he listens to our podcast.
Who knows?
But if he does, we probably just lost a follower. So there's
and
that.
We need some.
Please. So by the way, speaking of followers, we have right now, I think, active listeners on our podcast, 4 or 5 million.
Just below Joe Rogan.
Yeah, Joe's constantly bugging us. Saying, guys, come on my show.
Yeah.
Wouldn't that be amazing?
Yeah.
That'd be pretty
funny.
cool.
Yeah.
So if you know Joe Rogan and you're listening to this, hook us up.
Right.
That guy's unbelievable.
He is.
Yeah.
He is. He puts out some good stuff.
And he never goes off topic.
No.
Just like we didn't here. So it didn't bother me when he tweeted that at me. And I'm not going to put myself in a soapbox and be like, oh, it broke my heart, it saddened me. But it did make me think that this guy, and he says he's a coach, I'm sure he is. Hopefully he understands the platform he has.
Yes.
As a coach. Because, and we're talking about today's day and age, and we're not going to get into it in depth today as far as, and we don't really ever talk politics, but what's going on with the election coming up, what's going on with the violence and the lives that matter, but our players are looking at us. They're looking to us as coaches, and sometimes we're saying the same thing mom and dad are saying, but it's not mom and dad. It's Coach Tighe, Coach Hines, whoever. What would you say is one of the greatest lessons you've ever taught one of your players?
Well, I wouldn't say it was a verbal lesson. I would say more of an action lesson as far as the art of a handshake.
Yes.
And it's very important, especially when you're meeting someone new, whether it's on the field, off the field, meeting your girlfriend or boyfriend's parents for the first time, or going, afterwards going to a business. That handshake means so much.
Yeah.
And it tells so much to the person in a physical way that you're there and either mean business or you're there as a friend. When you're I always say half-assing. I shouldn't say that, but when you half-ass
it's out there.
If you half-ass that handshake, they're gonna know. This is not a true handshake, and is this a true person talking to me?
So 2 things there I love about this. So Coach Tighe and I were blessed. We've known each other now for 5 years. Our families get together for cookouts and whatnot.
Most of the time, you guys invite yourselves over, but that's cool.
We do. We live about a 5-minute walk from each other. My wife and I have been known to scooter.
Yeah, it's a 2-minute scooter ride.
Yes,
Yep.
if you don't fall. So,
Downhill.
Yeah, uphill's a lot harder.
Uphill, yeah.
But we also had the blessing of coaching with each other for 1 year. Coach Tighe was on not my staff, but I'm the head coach of our staff. And it was awesome because very often after practice, our players, and we never asked them to do this, it happened back when I was a head coach in New Hampshire, now here at Coronado. After every workout session, weight room, workout, on the field practice, players always come through and shake every coach's hand.
Right.
And I love it. And I remember hearing Coach Tighe sometimes just, kind of 15, 20 yards away from me.
Because I'm quiet.
Yes. we weren't social distancing back then.
Not that,
but just being spread out throughout the field and hearing Coach Tighe say things like eyes or hold up. Because, and I think in addition to what you said as far as letting people know that you mean business, you're there. We talk to our players about being in the moment, being where your feet are. And when you shake a young man's hand or a young woman's hand and you look them in the eye, and very often we will follow up by saying good job or keep it up or hey, let's attack it a little bit better tomorrow, or I love you to a player.
And it's also a sign of respect.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I remember hearing Coach Tighe, I remember hearing you say sometimes like, hey, eyes, and realize you're not just physically shaking hands. Connect with that person.
Right.
You also shared something with me off camera. Your son just got a new job.
Yeah, he just got a new job at a local store close by, and he went in for his interview. He came home and told me, hey, Dad, I got the job. And I was like, oh, cool. But what was funny is, like, Dad, he had a weak handshake. And I was like, well, what does that say about you? He goes, I like the guy. He's nice, but I don't know if he's genuine, And that's the thing is, like, you go in with a handshake, especially when you're in a leadership position.
Yes.
And you go and you shake your either workers, subordinates. I hate using that word, but I can't think of any other one right now.
He loves that word.
Yeah.
Often he'll call me and be like, hey, subordinate.
Get over here. I know you're the head coach, but you're still subordinate. But But you just show them that hey, you're there in the moment. You're there for your employees. You're there for your players, and that's just a show of respect to them.
And what I love about that, and we didn't, as we talked about, we didn't rehearse this. Coach talked about, hey, a month ago we sat down and said, hey, let's talk about this on this date.
Right.
It was 2 minutes beforehand. Hey, what should we talk about? I didn't know what his answer was going to be, but I felt confident knowing the person he is. It was not going to be how to hold the baseball to make that. I know nothing about baseball, but the curveball or something or knuckleball or something. It wasn't going to be how to field something. Nothing to do with the game. And both of us, 20 plus years coaching the sports we love, we look back at our fondest memories and lessons we've taught. They're life lessons.
Right.
They're outside of the lane of sticking to coaching.
Definitely.
Nothing to do with X's and O's. And we're passionate about that. We could both sit here with a whiteboard and talk for hours and lose a lot of followers, but talk for hours about the intricacies of what we coach and how we coach it and why. But the memories for coaches and for our players, they're not going to look back, most of them, and think about the position we told them to place their hands in a certain block or the certain way to hold a bat or whatever. It's Coach Tighe or Coach Hines or whoever's listening, help me get a job and help me be a better husband or better servant, better leader in my community with the lessons we taught. That's powerful.
It definitely is. And I know you definitely get them, and I've gotten a few letters and text messages from ex-players.
Yes.
And they come back and they tell us, hey, Coach, I appreciate you teaching us how to be a better man, how to be a better woman, that find a handshake, just being a better person.
Yeah.
And I think that's what goal, when you just coach the sport, you miss out on being an actual participant in that young player's life.
Yeah. And I would love to have a conversation with this coach at some point, not through text or Twitter, but face-to-face or over the phone, and just ask him, what do you see, what is coaching to you? Because for us, you can't put it in a box. You can't put coaching into a checklist of, I taught the stance, the get off, the recovery, all these different things. That's part of the game, but it's not even a fraction of. It's the tip of the iceberg to what coaching's all about.
Definitely.
Stick to coaching, once again, is like telling our players, stick to being a baseball player, stick to being a football player. And we know their playing days, just like for all of us, are going to come to an end.
Definitely. And
we want them to realize, once again, that that's a platform that they've been blessed with for this time in their lives. But that platform is going to end at a certain time, and who they are is going to continue.
Right. I think definitely the culture now is the right now. How do I feel right now? What do I do right now? But I think a lot of people don't look at the long-term effects of that one time you either yelled or praised a player, how that affects them in the future.
Yep.
It's all about right now. And, they may not like what you have to say. They may love what you have to say. But in the long run, they got to understand as a coach, and they should hopefully know that as a coach, that we're getting on them or praising them for their success in the future of their lives.
I completely agree. I'm going to put both of us on the spot here. I have one already, so I'm cheating a little bit.
So you're cheating.
I'm cheating.
You're such a cheater.
I'm going to start with Ronald Reagan. I mentioned to Coach a little bit off camera. Imagine if Ronald Reagan, and what people have different feelings about him, I think he was a tremendous president, stuck to acting.
Right.
It's your turn. Who can you think of? I'm putting you on the spot.
I know. Oh, man. I didn't even think about this one. If they just stuck to acting.
Or stuck to whatever someone else told them
right.
that they belong in that alley.
Definitely. That's a tough question. Oh, Muhammad Ali. If he just stuck to boxing.
Yeah, that's a good one.
I stole that from you, but yeah, that's fine.
That's a good one. This isn't rehearsed, but we talked a little bit off camera. Yeah, Muhammad Ali.
I think a lot of times, too, we tend to lose sight of, we can agree to disagree. And everybody wants you to pick a side, and that your side is right. But if you can sit here and agree to disagree, that not everybody has the same beliefs, same opinions, same thoughts as you do, I think it would be a lot better.
Amen.
Yeah.
Also, we were joking around about Joe Rogan, although, Joe, if you hear this.
Yeah, we're available.
We wouldn't even charge you that much.
I know. I know we're not Navy SEALs.
Joe Rogan, I know you know this, started out as a stand-up comedian. And the guy's still very, very funny.
Very funny.
Still does stand-up. But went on to do so many different things with his life and continues to, because he didn't choose to stay in some lane that someone said he should stay in. I think the world is overpopulated with people, unfortunately, who listen to the outside noise. And I won't call them haters, but people who have an image of what they should be like and just stay in that role.
Right.
And man, I can't imagine what any of our lives would be like if you just, or either of us, just stuck to one thing.
Right. You know, I'm going to put you on the spot now. I just thought of something. So he said stick to coaching. Now, if you change those two, stick to keep coaching from what you said.
Love that. Changes it, right?
It changes the whole aspect of what he said.
Yeah. And you know, it's funny. Wow, that's a good comment. You know, the power of words, once again. You know, when we grew up, you know, our parents and teachers always said, you know, names can't hurt you. Yeah, they can. There's power in words. Actually, the helmet behind me, during quarantine here one day, I was a little bored and just kind of went around and started throwing some words on there that mean something to me as far as coaching. We should do an episode on that. That's what we should do. We're going to do an episode someday on the helmet and just pick a word at a time and talk about it.
Maybe we should work on spelling too.
Did I misspell something?
Just kidding.
Probably did. I teach 4th grade, so my spelling's limited. But the power in words. If that gentleman had said, "Keep on coaching," as opposed to stick to coaching,
right?
That's powerful.
It is very powerful.
And I'd feel better for him truly. And once again, not that I'm losing sleep over him or for him, but it's a fear for me. I often get asked on different podcasts, or whatever, you know, what advice would you give to younger coaches? And I always try to add a little twist to that. It's not younger coaches that need any advice more than veteran coaches.
Right.
Because sometimes veteran coaches have coached their sport for years, but under the tutelage and the guidance of someone who doesn't get what the platform is. So young or old, I think the advice I would give to coaches is you're not just a coach. You'll never be just a coach. Get rid of that word just. It's not just a game. You mentioned it is a game. It should be fun.
Yes.
But the platform we have far extends any limitations of just baseball or just football. The last thing, and I want you mentioned, Coach Tighe mentioned something. I'm going to ask him to close us out here with this. My one takeaway, my prayer is, if you take one thing away from this, is don't ever let someone put you in a box or in a lane where you feel like you've got to stay there. Follow your passion, follow your heart. Coach Tighe, you mentioned something about, and I hadn't heard this said this way before, and I can't take any credit for it.
Right.
But about blinders.
Yes. So when you say stick to coaching, I imagine a horse running down the track with blinders on, and he's just going to that end spot of the track. So when you're just doing coaching, you got that blinders on, and you're just coaching that sport you're in. And if you take those blinders off, you're going to see the beauty around you. You're going to learn how your players are, who they are. You're going to learn their support system. You're going to allow yourself to be a better coach, because you're going to open yourself up and be vulnerable.
I love that. I have a question for you I just thought of. What would you say to someone that says, no, screw that, tunnel vision? That's successful people have that tunnel vision.
I'll tell the same thing when I opened up this podcast. You're missing out on so much.
Yeah, I agree.
You're missing out on so much, because you never know that one kid, he may be having she having a really bad day and just needs some words of encouragement. And you see just a little bit, you're not the same today. That little word of encouragement can go a long way, because you don't know what's going on at home. You don't know what's going on in the classroom, because really coaches just looking at grades. They don't see what's going on. They're bullying, the social media stuff going on. You don't know if they have there's maybe a single parent household and stuff is tough, and they might be thinking, ending their lives, and you don't want to miss out on that, where you can be that positive reinforcement, like, hey, we care, we're glad you're here, and that could be just all it takes.
I love it. And by the way, so Coach Tighe and I like to keep these podcasts 30 minutes or under. Right now, we're just hitting about 20 minutes, so we're going to wrap up soon. But when Coach Tighe, and some of you have heard this before, but when Coach Tighe and I met, I think it was like the first time we met. It was at a small group where we go to church, and we just connected. There was a bond, and I know nothing about baseball. He knows a lot about it. He knows a little bit about football. I know a decent amount. It had nothing to do with the sports we coach, but it was the passion for blessing others and passion for empowering those that were blessed to coach.
And the character in each of us. We know we were both genuine when we do talk about stuff like this.
I was waiting for a joke there. That was sincere.
I was being sincere.
We're having a moment right
Almost
now.
started crying.
We appreciate you guys. We want to wrap up. If you enjoyed this at all, if you took one thing, and that's our goal, our prayers. If you can take one thing away from this to help your son or daughter to deal with a coach that maybe does have those blinders on,
Definitely.
or thinks they need to stick to coaching and doesn't understand the full extent of what coaching is.
Right.
If you yourself are a coach or the parent that's just struggling, if you got anything out of this, recommend it or share it with someone. We'd appreciate that. And I want to give a shout out. We're going to give 2 shout outs here. One is to GameStrat. If you haven't heard of them, they are an amazing company. They're still new and up and coming, but man, when we deal with them, I feel like we're their only customer because they get back to us like that.
Like that.
And what they are simply is GameStrat is a sideline instant replay product company where we've used for 3 years now at Coronado High School, and it's been a game changer for us. Instead of waiting till Saturday morning when we're doing our film review with the players to coach them up and to tell them about certain opportunities or techniques or things they could do differently, instantaneously from the sideline or the end zone, we can show them within seconds what they've done, get them back on the field, and help them to correct that, which only leads to better play, more enjoyment, and that's what it's all about.
Yeah, what a great tool for you guys. Also with Muertos Coffee Company, if you go to muertoscoffeeco.com and put in SDFD25, you'll get a 15% discount. They're a California-owned, firefighter-owned company that gives back to first responders who are in need, such as cancer or anything that may come across on the job. So if you go to muertoscoffeecompany.com and put in SDFD25, you'll get a 15% discount, and 5% of all the proceeds go to a fund to help first responders.
Outstanding. I don't drink coffee.
No, you should. It's pretty
But
good.
Coach Ty won't say this, but I don't know if it was his firehouse or another one locally did a blind taste test, and he said it blew the other competitors they used for years out of the water.
Yes.
So that's pretty powerful.
It's good coffee.
Appreciate you guys, and as always, take it for what it's worth.
And stay strong.